Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go through a V premium tier list. I know that there has been no support for V, but I think the ideas that come out of this video might be a bit more informative as to why I'm picking certain decks to be in certain tiers. And you know, a lot of people know what I guess like the best decks are, but I think this is more of a, an indicator or a foresight on what the BCS landscape will be in terms of the V premium side, and just kind of some information for you guys, so that if you guys are participating at a BCS, this is what you expect. This is the tier list for the BCS season. If you guys need any coaching for the BCS season though, feel free to hit me up on my Metafy. My link is in the bottom right hand corner and in the descriptions. My bookings are coming up very quick and I'm getting filled at the moment, so feel free to book a session and we can get started. So as I said before, this tier list is more informative of the landscape and the priorities that people are working off in the competitive season, obviously looking at the BSF season to kind of see like what decks are being most played and so on and so forth. So I'm just gonna go through all the super meta picks at the moment. So for example, Great Nature, that was highly played in the BSF season. I played it, and I think a lot of people just played it across the world. The deck is very strong. I mean, it's one Gatekeeper was Steam Maiden in the previous format and now it's gone. So I think now that the shackles are gone, I think this deck is really strong. Another one would be Bermuda Triangle, Ange. So Gav played it in our team composition for Sydney. Very strong deck. Just super consistent, just does what it does. Draws a bunch, high quality of shield, multi-attack, huge numbers, pretty much the whole package. And then Luard is also good. Everyone knows like how Luard kind of functions. I think Luard is just, has been doing what it has been, and it's been on and off the ban list multiple times, and I think it's in the best state as it is at the moment. Obviously, no domain and superior right shenanigans, but I think it's a very stable deck. Probably the top 3 best picks for the format at the moment. Stuff like Grand Blue is still really strong. Grand Blue hasn't really changed. Still does its Skull Dragon stuff. So yeah, sits in A. Astral Poets as well. Astral Poets is just one of those decks that just keep coming back, can just randomly win games, and I think it's very strong. Link Joker. So Link Joker is actually a counter pick to some of these decks. I know a lot of people brought Glendios. Gav brought it to last year's BCS Singapore as a countermeasure to Steam Maiden, and I think even now it's more of a, a reality check, so to say, because essentially what happens is that if you're versing against Luard and you lock 2 of their front row, it's kind of over. So yeah, Link Joker is one of the rising picks at the moment, and I think it's a very strong deck, along with something like Volko Messiah or Chaos Messiah. Very strong deck. Same with Dark Irregulars. Hong Wai brought it to BCS Malaysia, if I'm not mistaken, and I think he went 1 loss in Swiss. Very strong deck. It has its new consistency PR that comes as a shop promo. Essentially searches 3 from deck and put it into Soul. Very strong card, and I think DI just does what it does. Amon Shahara is a deck that has been played in the season a lot, and I think going forward this is pretty much something that you'll see as well. Aquaforce, Toby brought it in our team composition for Sydney. Very consistent deck. Has multi-attack, has a bunch of draws. Yeah, just has everything. I think it's probably one of the best decks in the format at the moment. So these 4 decks, are the decks that I guess you'll be looking for. If you're picking up V Premium, that's what it is. Narukami is pretty strong too. I think Vanquisher is a very, stable deck. It just does what it does. Book Vanquisher has been, one of those things once upon a time. So I think Book Vanquisher is, kind of underlooked at the moment, just because there's just so many other better decks at the moment. Oracle Think Tank, Battle Sisters is very strong, has lots of guard restrict on rear guards. The only problem with the deck is that it's a 3-attack deck, but it's a strong 3-attack deck. So yeah, it's still very strong, along with Jewel Knights. Jewel Knights has seen a lot of play in the BSF season with Ashley Reverse. Very strong deck. And then stuff like, Kagero, it has dropped off a bit. Overlord still just as it is. The other stuff like Lawkeeper, Dauntless is alright, but I don't think it classes anywhere like along these guys very much. So if you're, you know, going to a BCS season, I would highly recommend you guys look into a deck that is in S tier and A tier. B tier, you know, you'll see in the first 3 rounds and then get over it. Mega Colony needs a lot of help, but you know, with the state of the format at the moment, it's probably better that you see Mega Colony in Premium because it's a whole completely different story in Premium. Neonectar as well. I think it just needs a lot of support. Pale Moon as well. I think these 3 decks, man, in V, I think it's just better suited in a different format, and I think, you know, you'll see these decks be very, very different in Premium than it is in V. Spike Brothers as well. I think Spike Brothers lacks a little bit, but definitely better than Mega Colony and Neonectar. Gold Paladin. So Gold Paladin, Spectral Duke is alright. I think Spectral Duke is a very formidable deck. Gurgit's still strong. I think Gurgit actually got played quite a bit in the BSF season. It just, you know, has a bunch of excels and then max slash into Wonder Ezel into pretty much everything that you've, you know, been doing as a Gurgit player since forever. So yeah, I think Gold Paladin is still good. Gear Chronicles. So I think Steam Maiden as a deck itself is still strong. The consistency engine with Enterana just got hit. But you know, you still have access to the cat. The cat can still search you stuff. I think it's probably at the bottom of A, but I wouldn't put it in B because I think B is just, you know, decks that are like super mid, and you know, if you don't have access to any of the other S or A tier decks and you have access to Maiden, I'd be pretty happy. Murakumo, what does Murakumo have? Like Shiriki, Yasue, Stealth Beasts, yeah, the Weasels, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's great at the moment. So Murakumo kind of sits here. Tachikaze as well, it only has Gaia and Ancient Dragons, just not very good. Angel Feathers as well. Gabriel got hit. Hamiel was kind of the only deck, and now it's just Malkuth Melek. Yeah, it needs a lot. So maybe it just goes in C. Like the decks itself is just, yeah, really, really harsh. Maybe I'll put in B because I think Malkuth Melek has a little bit of respect on it. So I think Angel Feather, you know, sitting at B is okay. But otherwise, you know, I wouldn't bring this to a BCS. Dimension Police. Maybe Dimension Police goes in like the top of B. We've seen a lot of Enigmans. But maybe it's like the same Enigman players. I'm not really sure. I think DP at the moment is just a little bit off. I'm not too sure where it kind of stands. Victor as well. I think Victor's alright. It has Sazanda, but it doesn't have the new PR. I think the new PR really makes it good. But yeah, I'll just put Nova Grapplers there. So maybe I'll put like Angel Feathers down here. And maybe like Gaia and Ancient Dragons down here as well. And then Nubatama has Daiholazan, has Shiranui. I think it just kind of goes there. I think this is like kind of where I kind of picture the V Premium format at the moment. So as you can see, the top 4 decks are 3 of the 4 decks we brought for our team composition in Sydney, and I think a lot of the teams would have included 1 or 2 of these decks. I know Anj had a lot of popularity, you know, in the later parts of the season. We didn't see Anj very much in the early parts. A lot of Luard in the early parts, but then Luard kind of dropped off, and then a lot of play in Anj. But you can see the kind of trends, right? You see that Luard was so dominant, and then people just found ways to play quicker decks, right? Like Aqua Force, Bermuda Triangle are much quicker decks. Great Nature is like that midway point where it's all right to start off with. You hit a front, you're like feeling pretty good. And then, you know, in the later parts of the game, it just ramps up like crazy, hitting double front and just ending the game right there. But all of these decks are very consistent. Maybe apart from Great Nature, I think Great Nature isn't as consistent as the other 3, but I think it's still very good, you know, in playing against these other 3 decks. And then like all these other like A tier decks are very strong as well. Maybe I'll put like OTT towards the end. Gear Chronicle definitely at the very end of A. And then like all the other things are very, very good. So, you know, Night Rose is still good. Astral Poets. Link Joker variants, DI, Amon Shahara, very, very good. So I think a lot of these decks are very formidable. So if you're going to a BCS, you bring an S tier or an A tier deck, you're feeling pretty good. But obviously you need to really contend with the top 4. I think these are the top 4 decks that you kind of need to work on. And yeah, that's pretty much the insights of V. Obviously we don't have any support for V, so not very much to kind of talk about, other than the fact that we can talk about how the trends kind of worked in the previous season, and then leading into the BCS season, what to expect, and this is what you expect. So feel free to take this information on for yourself for the BCS season. And yeah, good luck on your BCS season. If you guys like this video, pop a like, comment down below what you guys think of V Premium at the moment. I think it's pretty stagnant, obviously with no support. So seeing a lot of, players shift to go to Premium is, very cool to see. But yeah, you might see the other side of the fence with some of these clans might be a lot better in the Premium format. If you guys haven't done already, pop a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.